we turn to News 5's Emily DeVoe. First reporter on the scene.
News 5's Emily DeVoe is live from...
She spoke exclusively to News 5's Emily DeVoe.
Alabama's going to play a critical role in the presidential election this year.
Emily, what can you tell us?
When the creek was redesigned in the 50s, Mobile was obviously a lot smaller. You didn't have the businesses or the houses or the parking lots you have today. These 8 Mile residents are not happy with how they feel that the spill has been handled as far as investigations go. You can see behind me there are dozens of them, and they've got signs that say Mercaptan is toxic. Take a look behind me. Last question, were you high on drugs?
Last question, kiss my...
Here's a map of Alabama showing all the education districts in the state. He is the suspect in killing 3 different women. Stealing Christmas decorations isn't the only mayhem in the neighborhood this week. Her father actually lives right over there. By this time next summer, it'll look something more like this, which is a lot better. If you look at the tons of asphalt being poured into these road projects, it weighs more than 1 billion moon pies. Learning how to do the dam. I don't know why I just went through here. With your friendly tax day reminder. Wait.
Emily, are you sure you know how to cook all of this stuff?
Oh my gosh. Just trying to stay dry. I'm not scared of any snakes.
Get that out of here with the picture.
With my toes in the sand. I'm Emily DeVoe, News 5. On the hunt for a killer.
They are not a static target.
I would shoot the son of a on sight.
It's quite scary.
Running nightmare.
Investigators race against the clock as the body count climbs higher.
The general public, because of TV, movies, things like that, they feel like, you know, a snap of a finger, wave of a magic wand, law enforcement can just say, oh, well, here they are.
Griff Garrison knows exactly what goes into a manhunt like this. As a former lead homicide detective, he built his career on catching Georgia's most dangerous killers.
They can find you.
And now he stars in the hit CBS reality show, Hunted.
The family members and the friends of Mr. Boyette, they don't trust you. They don't want to talk to you.
The longer a fugitive's on the run, the more detailed he says the investigation gets.
You don't want to push too hard in the beginning. So you may interview somebody 3 or 4 times, and they may think they haven't given anything up. But it's that small piece of information that they've given up and that they didn't realize they did. It's a piece of a puzzle. And when you take that piece and you put it with all the other pieces you've got, in the end, you have a full picture.
Some of those pieces come from social media.
Rumor had it that he
heard they're on his trail on Monday.
But
OMG,
you have to wade through the thousands of rumors, fueling even more panic.
We don't have the luxury in law enforcement to just say, well, that's probably not true. We're not gonna look into that. You have to look into all of it.
How big of a challenge is social media to the investigation?
We need the public's help to solve crimes. What happens is, though, you get the public trying to backseat detective work. They're trying to do, you know, Monday morning quarterbacking of it. They're coming up with their own theories of what's happened, and they're posting that on social media.
Well, it's a nightmare for investigators and the public. The longer a chase goes on, eventually it comes to an end.
Breaking news tonight. Mary Rice now in the custody of the Troup County Sheriff's Office.
There are cops everywhere out here.
And William Boyette, we believe, has died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
The first thing was relief.
Because in a hunt this large, every agency in the country is watching, and that's something you can't escape for very long. In Northwest Florida, I'm Emily DeVoe, News 5.
With red snapper season just a few months away, the Marine Enforcement Division is taking an unusual approach to catch people hiding illegal fish. As News 5's Emily DeVoe reports, they've spent the last 2 months training dogs to sniff out contraband. She has a story you'll only see right here on News 5.
Hey, check here. Check here.
Morgan isn't your typical conservation enforcement officer.
I just started asking the question, could we put a dog to use to do this? And in my research, the answer was most likely yes.
She's one of 2 spaniels Scott Bannon says they trained to sniff out hidden red snapper and other fish.
It's just like a narcotics dog. When people wrap it with grease or duct tape or coffee grounds, these dogs have that same ability to go through those multiple layers.
To show me how it works, they take a bag filled with fillets.
We try to do it so that it would be the most real-life scenario.
Then Officer Lena Phillips hides it under a bench in the boat's cabin, and she grabs Morgan to get to work.
At first, people think that we're going to pull out, Belgian Malinois or a German Shepherd, and you see their face light up when they see one of the Spaniels.
Our goal is to not hold people up for very long, and we don't want to go through every person's boat and inconvenience them. The dogs speed that system up immensely.
After just a minute or two, Morgan finds the source of the fillets and sits down.
That's it. Yeah, good girl.
That's how she shows Lena she found it.
They were never rewarded for just saying, I smell the product somewhere here. You need to look further. The dog has to go identify the source of the scent.
The canine unit will naturally face some criticism from fishermen when word spreads.
The dogs are not a secret weapon. We want people to know that we have the dogs and what their capabilities are, because we understand that people are not excited about the short seasons and the lower bag limits, so we want to deter the illegal behavior ahead of time.
Check here.
Officers have to check the boats anyway and say the dogs will at least speed that process up.
The dogs speed that system up immensely.
With training under her paws, Morgan is ready for a busy snapper season. In Dolphin Island, Emily DeVoe, News 5.
From the road, it's not much to look at, but this is where the Oslava Creek we know today starts. It's a drainage ditch behind Dreamland Barbecue. Just like this water will eventually find its way to Dog River, so will we, and we have everything we need for the trip.
One down. What else do you need there, adventurer? I need my Mountain Dew.
No need for the kayaks yet, but if we're going to travel
Careful on those rocks.
every inch of this creek, we'll want them eventually. Just look at how high the man-made rock retainer wall is on either side. This is designed to hold a lot of water. But in this stretch, it's just muck, so we'll have to drag the kayaks.
Ah, look at this.
What you won't find.
Honda hubcap.
Probably from a wreck.
Figured we can put our cool stuff in.
We're down here, we might as well.
First treasure.
On we go.
Trash shouldn't come as any surprise.
You said you forgot your flashlight?
Oh, I'm
There we
adding this
go.
to the bag. Flashlight.
It's the one thing nearly everyone thinks about
We're off to a good collection.
when you mention Oslava Creek. What you don't realize, unless you trudge through the muck yourself, is how many creatures live down here.
I'm amazed that there are all these little minnows.
Hopefully we don't need the snake bite kit.
Sure, we know it's only a matter of time before we see at least one.
Oh boy.
But I don't do snakes.
Oh, snake!
Obviously.
Yeah, there is.
Really
So stay back.
We haven't even gone like 2 football fields and there's already a snake.
Well, I mean, it's wild. I mean, and it's wet.
All right.
So we're going to see wildlife.
It doesn't take long
There's another snake in here.
before we get to a spot we think we might actually be able to kayak. If you didn't know any better, you'd think we were in the middle of the wilderness somewhere.
Oh gosh, this is where the snakes are.
But News 5's drone pilot, Jim Johnson, pops that illusion right away. We're still by the interstate, which you can see off to the left.
It's getting very, very soft through here.
From the sky, you can really see how overgrown it is. It takes us more than 20 minutes just to drag the kayaks a short ways to Woodwork Street, where we can finally take them out.
From here, we're about halfway between Old Shell and Dolphin Street, and we can't go any further.
And that's where we'll use our drone.
You can see why we can't walk this stretch. The plants reach the top of the bank on either side. Remember, this is supposed to manage stormwater, and yet you can't even see the bottom.
Removing these plants would do nothing to control flooding.
Botanical Gardens Director Bill Finch tells a very different story about the Oslava Creek we see today.
This isn't how Oslava Creek used to be. I can sort of read, looking at some of the plants here, I can sort of imagine some of the ways it used to be. Look, there's a beautiful plant, we call it thalia. I think that used to be in abundance in Oslava Creek. So what was Oslava Creek? It really drained this big thing called Rag Swamp.
Old maps show Rag Swamp spanned thousands of acres in the middle of Mobile, and Oslava Creek originally reached as far west as Grelot Road.
And it was a great creek. It was an immense creek.
But in the 1950s, when the city drained the swamp to build a shopping mall, they turned the creek into what it is today, a glorified drainage ditch.
The trouble is It's an old lake bed. It's already so low it can't channel any more water to Mobile Bay. It's already nearly as low as Mobile Bay now. If you cleaned it out, it wouldn't make much difference. It's not going to make any significant difference because the water is coming from so many different places and it overwhelms the whole area.
Since the creek we have now was engineered decades ago, we're left figuring out what to do with it. Because as Mobile continues to grow, the burden on this stretch of water gets worse every year.
When the creek was redesigned in the 50s, Mobile was obviously a lot smaller. You didn't have the businesses or the houses or the parking lots you have today, so there were more areas for the stormwater and the rainwater to absorb into the ground, whereas now it just runs off the hot pavement directly into the creek, causing all sorts of problems.
To Elegant Nights limo party bus.
You may know her.
Let's get on the bus and party bus. I'm gonna give you guys a quick tour.
As the party bus lady.
Have your monitors in here.
But Mary Taylor's dream of being a business owner.
I didn't want to go to work for corporate America.
Started when she had a very different career.
I was getting ready to retire from the military. I had been to Iraq and I came back in 2010. I was in the transportation field in the military and it kind of went hand in hand.
She traded military trucks for party buses. Now her hard work is being rewarded.
I was really excited. I'm like, whoa, me? Elegant Nights? You sure?
She's the Chamber's Small Business of the Month.
She's very engaged in the Chamber. She is a mentor for potential entrepreneurs. She teaches how to start a business with $1, which is pretty much how she did it. She just has a great story.
But her story isn't the only thing turning heads. Taylor's company, only in its 5th year here in Mobile, is expanding at a rapid pace.
She covers 4 states now, from Louisiana to Florida. She's added more employees. There were a lot of intriguing things in her application.
And perhaps the most intriguing,
call me the party bus lady,
is that she never let anyone tell her she couldn't do it.
Well, how about that? Military trucks for party buses. And as you can tell, they're having a great time tonight. And she said they're pretty busy for the Mardi Gras season. So head over to our website if you want some more information. Reporting live on a party bus in West Mobile, I'm Emily DeVoe, News 5.